What is up, Packer fans? Here we are back again. It's week 18, and I can't even believe that we're even in this position, even talking about this at this time. The Packers win, and they are in the playoffs. They'll be the seventh seed, which means they'll go on the road and face the two seed since the one seed has the bye. But for a team that was 4-8, 3-6 before that, to get to this point, to have the record be 8-8 at this point in the season, and after three seasons in a row where they were 13-3 or 13-4, number one seed, all these things. Rasul Douglas even said that a lot of their success in the last couple of years came pretty easily. They had so much talent, they didn't have to really go through a lot of adversity. This time around, this season, a lot of things didn't go their way at first, a lot of bad games, a lot of getting exposed, and then a lot of figuring it out, communicating, working together, uniting, and going on this run now. He said it's really built them up to be who they are on the field now. Instead of, just all the talent just showing up and really not having to do much. Now it's like, okay, now we're really balling out, we're really playing hard, and this is the result. And when you earn it that way, he said it has a whole different level of like pride added to it, and just very exciting because it seems like this team on all three phases is playing better than it has all season. And we all know, the offense seems to be clicking a little bit with Watson and the running game and Romeo Doubs and Lazard playing well. Mercedes Lewis, big dog, and even Tanya getting in the mix. So the offense, the weapons are good. The running backs, like I said, Dillon and Aaron Jones. Jones over 1,000 yards. Dillon's like 5 touchdowns in the last 7 games, just playing really, really well. The offense getting itself going. The offensive line really starting to come into form. I mean, we thought going into the year with a healthy Bakhtiari, a healthy Elkin Jenkins, fill in the blanks with the rest of the offensive line, and it would be pretty good. The injuries, the ACL, the appendectomy, Jenkins kind of starting on the right side, then moving to the left side. There was just a lot of things that caused issues for the offensive line early in the season. They've got that cleaned up. When Bakhtiari is out there, he is all pro, number one left tackle in the league, bar none. Trent Williams and him were in that argument, but Williams is out for the season. So for Bakhtiari, that is awesome that he can play so well when he is in there. Elkin Jenkins at left guard starting to really come into form. He is a dominant player there, Pro Bowl type talent for sure. Now that he's coming off the ACL, a few more months removed from that. And so then, Josh Myers playing well, and then John Runyan Jr. playing super well at right guard. And then whether you have Yash out there at right tackle or Zach Tom, it seems like Zach Tom is a diamond in the rough pick for Gutekunst. I swear, a guy that can play right tackle, left guard, right guard. He has played pretty much everything but center, but he played center in college, so he could do it too, I am sure. So for the Packers to find a guy like him, that's huge. But to either have him or Yash out there, the right side's pretty good. That's probably the weakest link with Yash out there at the right side. So for Green Bay, the offensive line starting to finally look like it should have all season. And now you bring on the defense with, Kenny Clark making plays, Jarran Reed making plays. You see Devontae Wyatt starting to come into form. We know Dean Lowry's out for the season now, but then you have Devondre Campbell, all pro last year. We really missed him during the losing streak. You can tell that, he is a fixture in the middle there, just getting guys organized and being the quarterback of the defense. And then, obviously, like Preston Smith just being a super, veteran on the team. 8.5 sacks. He had 3 in the last 3 games now. So, just really playing well. And then the young guys and Agbar's coming on. Justin Hollins, he's making plays out there. The guy we picked up midseason from the Rams. And so Green Bay looking good. And then on the back end, like I said, Douglas playing super well. Jaire, just the confidence is at a crazy high level. You see that he shut down Justin Jefferson after saying he was going to shut down Justin Jefferson. When you talk the talk and then you walk the walk, that's when people really start to recognize, okay, this guy is the real deal. And we all knew that. Obviously, he's the highest paid corner in the league. But we saw him get burned kind of against the Bears, and people were talking. So to see him shut down Jefferson, just huge for the Packers. And then having Amos, Darnell Savage, and Rudy Ford all playing safety at such a high level. Amos got his first pick of the season last week. And then obviously Rudy Ford just, playing great. Ever since he went back there, communication on the back end's a lot better, and guys seem to be in position, not so out of position, and it's just working. Complementary football with the defensive line getting after the quarterback. The coverage doesn't have to cover as long, and then they can play tight and they can play aggressive, and that helps just everybody. You saw Justin Jefferson getting jammed at the line. He was just like, what is this? This isn't 90s football, and just took him out of the game completely. So for the Packers, they're really obvious, like hitting their strides in all three phases. Obviously, we know the kick return game. Keyshawn Nixon, 105 yards for a touchdown. And he's had, multiple 50-yarder ones. He's had multiple 30 yards or more. He got us down to the 9-yard line against the Dolphins. I mean, he came in, and I think it's since week 11. I think that's when he started. He's basically led the league in kick return yards. He's got a touchdown. He's one of only 4 people to have a touchdown, and he hasn't even returned kicks all season, and already has the best average in the league. So for a guy that was with Bisaccia for 4 years and with the Raiders, for them never to use him as a returner, for him to come here, them not really use him as a returner, us watching Amari Rodgers literally losing us games, that was tough to watch. And then they pull him out. The first return Nixon had was like a 30-yarder. And I'm like, this guy's going to get us one. I can just tell by the way he runs it and the way he takes it. And then obviously the guys are like, the blockers are like, oh, wow, this guy's going to take one. We got to start blocking. So very exciting, very, very exciting. It just helps everything. It gets the offense in better field position. It helps the defense because it helps really help the offense have better field position. So if they do have to punt, at least they're punting from midfield or whatever, and it just helps everything. And then if you can score, that's huge. So obviously, and then we have Mason Crosby nailing a 56-yarder. So things are really starting to come together for the Packers at the right time. Right before the playoffs, they found a way to sneak in. If they can get this W, the Commanders lost a bunch of them. I thought they'd still have to lose this week for us to have a hope at all, but they just kept losing. So they're out of the way. Seattle, they lost enough for us to be right there. If we win, we're in. So we don't have to worry about anything else. And I remember like 5 weeks ago, it was like a 1% chance to make the playoffs at that point. If we won out, it would have been like an 87% chance or something at that time. Now, if we win out, it's a 100% chance, obviously, because we are the team that has the only win and in of the weekend in the NFC. So for the Packers, though, obviously we got to shut down Detroit. That means Jared Goff. They have 2 running backs, Swift and Jamal Williams. Williams leads the league in rushing touchdowns. He's over 1,000 yards. We all know what he can do. He was with the Packers for a while. And then they have like the number 1 offensive line in the league. And then they have weapons. We know they traded TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, but they have the young guy, Brock Wright. He had 2 touchdowns last week. And the week before that, Zylstra had 3 touchdowns. So they definitely have some playmakers at tight end. And then on the outside, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We all know him, over 100 yards or 100 catches this season. And then they activated DJ Chark, like I said, Jameson Williams off of IR, the speedster who comes out for like one big play a game. And then they have small slot guy Khalif Raymond, and then Josh Reynolds, a guy that Goff played with at the Rams when he was there. So on offense, Detroit can put up points. They score quickly, and what I remember is, though, they had a 35-point per game average going into the home game November 6th against the Packers. Packers went in there, held them to 15 points. We only scored 9, which sucks, but we held them to 15. So I think that the formula is there for winning. The Packers had like 5 chances where they got into Detroit territory and came in with no points. 2 turnovers inside the 5-yard line, 1 turnover inside the 22-yard line where he threw it to the 5. So there's like 3 turnovers within the 5-yard line, basically. So I really think the Packers are going to dominate this game. I think that the home field advantage Sunday night, everything on the line. I just don't think Detroit on defense has enough to really do anything. And I think the Packers defense is going to feed off of the fans and the crowd and the atmosphere and just the setting and everything going on. And they're going to come up with some plays against Detroit. We know that Goff hasn't turned the ball over in like the last 8 weeks or something crazy like that, or hasn't thrown an interception. This team is the least turnover of the ball in the league. And so they really, they possess the ball. Most of the game they run the ball. They don't turn it over. It's just the formulas for winning, like I said. So for the Packers, it just comes down to execution, and we do have a better roster top to bottom. Our defense is way better, like I said, and the offenses are comparable. Both have 2 running backs, both have some weapons on the outside, and both have a decent offensive line. So I think it's going to come down to defense mostly. The Packers, like I said, they only scored 9 in that first one. They held Detroit to 15 points only. So if we can do that and then actually score some of those times that we were down in the red zone, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Not a cakewalk. I won't say anything like that. Knock on wood. Don't want to jinx anything. But the Packers should win this game fairly easily. I know Detroit, they said they were on a run. Like they were hot, but they just got smoked by the Panthers 2 weeks ago. They had over 300 rushing yards on them. 2 guys with over 100 yards rushing against Detroit 2 weeks ago. So for the Packers, the formula is pretty easy. When Matt LaFleur runs the ball 50% of the time or more, he's 12-0 in his career as a head coach. So the last 4 years with the Packers. And then this year, if they run the ball 50% of the time or more, he's 5-0. So you don't need any other numbers than that. Run the football. Detroit can't stop the run. They gave up over 300 yards rushing 2 weeks ago. The Packers have enough on the outside that they should be able to throw the ball if they need to, but they should really be able to run the football and play dominant defense. So here we go. Packers win. What was it last week? So we'll do like a 38. I'm thinking 38-17, even though it's kind of close to what it was last week. I think that's what it gets to. And I know the Vikings got to 17 because the backups were in and Nick Mullins threw a touch. I mean, so whatever. But I think this one might be a little bit closer early, but a turnover and then the halftime, things like that, Packers getting the ball at half, things like that will turn the tide for the game, and the Packers will stretch the lead at the end and get this win. And then we're probably going to San Francisco. Hopefully we can get some revenge. This time it'll be Brock Purdy, though, so I think in his first action as a rookie in the playoffs, we can get after him. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens. But first, we have to take care of the Detroit Lions. Here we go, Green Bay. Go, Pack, go. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Go, Packers. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Go, Pack, go.